Hi guys, it's kanolifez here, back at it again. For me, I apologize for the delay in my videos. So it's been actually a while since I've last uploaded my last video, which was I think it was 6 months ago. For my last video wise, which if you notice about today's video wise, it's actually on the day that I will be uploading the video, and it's actually a few hours actually before the upload of this video. So actually quite surprised, but yeah, it kind of really shows about how much time I kind of have on my hands. And pretty much it's been a busy semester in terms of year 3 semester 1, and also in regards to my upcoming semester, which will be the busiest and technically the busiest year yet. So yeah, I'm just going to be going through the year 3 semester 1's module review in terms of the modules that I've went through. Okay, so I think some changes first before I actually go into the list itself. So one of the changes that if you notice based on my ICT 133 side of things, okay, I've also input this legend part which says free elective modules. Yes, you kind of know what it means. So in this case, this free elective modules part, yeah, I've dropped my ICT minor in that case. Initially, it was supposed to be an ICT and data science minor. However, due to certain complications in terms of that minor itself, okay, which I'll explain about it later. Uh, due to that, due to those kinds of complications I have with myself and the minor itself, I chose to drop the minor itself, which I'll explain more later on. Okay, so yeah, so ICT 133, if you notice from the previous videos and versus this video's color is different. Yeah, I already just explained why. So yeah, just to note for that color and some of the colors that are shown here for these two modules here. So okay, I think I will go through each module by module first. So the first module that I've went through during the semester is ENG 335, which is about machine learning. Where about machine learning, you get to learn about supervised, unsupervised models, like just things that I actually learned before in terms of in 303, 305, and 307, in terms of predictive modeling. Oh, in terms of artificial neural networks, what can we do with it? And then also because of what we know about neural networks, there are things such as like deep neural networks and actually more of different types of deep learning things that you will learn in this module for ENG 335. There are also things like, say, in terms of k-means, in terms of clustering previously that we've learned for 303 or 305, and then also things on KNN, which is about k nearest neighbors. Okay, we might differentiate k-means with k nearest neighbors, but they are actually on they're actually on different different segregations. Like they are distinct by its own. Yeah, one is supervised learning and one is unsupervised learning. Yeah, so I guess it actually tells us the differences between the two. And also at the same time, it actually allows us to learn more about Python and how these algorithms can be done in Python also. Yes, another thing is, yeah, just mainly way more algorithms that we'll learn, such as long short-term memory or long-term short memory. I kind of forgot the terms for it, but yeah, we actually got to learn more algorithms. It's mainly extension knowledge that we learned from 305 and 307, that hey, we are actually also using Python now for ENG 335. Also, another thing to take note is mainly this module. Okay, it's mainly an ECA module, and also at the same time, for ENG 335, I think I will just give a notice first. The classes itself, it will be a 12-week course, and then yeah, like as per usual, a 12-week course. Then six of them, okay, six of the odd week classes are mainly done in a lecture hall, which is actually in a sense quite surprising. You don't see that every day. Like even from all of the modules here, this is probably the first one that I see that is it's conducted in a lecture hall, which is surprising in a sense. And pretty much I like and prefer on how the professor actually talks about the algorithms, how do they work, and also in terms of the because what I say about algorithms, you get to know about just a tiny little bit about calculus, and then also like the mathematical proof things, yeah, side of things. So that's what made me interested in it. So for this one to be in the pink color, uh, this pink color module, this one is a data science minor core, I believe. This one is a data science minor core module lah that I've learned. So for this case, from the things that I've learned for algorithms that can be used for like ECA, and then oh yeah, 2 GBA projects. So if you're actually keen on actually going for those kind of modules, okay, I would suggest to go for ENG 335 module. Yeah, and also at the same time, please when you take ENG 335, I would suggest to do ANL 307 first before actually heading on to ENG 335. Okay. So to give a perspective also is more or less a type of person. I'm a type of person that actually is more into coding side of things. So if you're not a fan of coding or data science related stuff, please don't take my word for it. Just take it as a grain of salt. So yeah, that's one thing to take note. So for me, in terms of ENG 335, for me it will be the S tier. So which part of the S tier? Okay, for me, I would actually prefer it over Pass 107, but not over ANL 305 because I would generally say that these are still the basic parts, basic concepts that we still learn. As also compared to ANL 303, it's also the basic concepts also. So in terms of 335, it can be a bit advanced, so that there is the difficulty a bit, but as long as you apply the concepts well, that module will be for you. Yeah, in 3335. Okay, so next module that we have over here will be ICT 330. Okay, so ICT 330 is initially from the ICT minor core modules that I have. So this ICT 330 is database management systems. Okay, so I think I will just talk about this. So ICT 330 actually allows you to think more of the database side of things, where you can see there are like different Excel sheets and things like that. So how are you going to integrate different Excel sheets together? So there's this thing called SQL. Okay, SQL, you can integrate different Excel sheets via like what SQL via the different primary keys that they have and whatnot. So you're going to learn in terms of the different tables that they have. They have the specific terms for it, but I'm not gonna mention it here. So for these tables wise, how are you going to relate these tables together? Are you going to relate them to say, one person's identification number is going to be linked to different bank accounts, for example? Okay, so you'll be, for example, a one-to-many relationship. Yeah, so yeah, or maybe for some other accounts in terms of like child, it can be only to link to one child account. Sometimes this can be on a scenario based questions that they have, that you would need to use some sort of assumptions if the question has not raised up any of them. Yeah, so as much as I say that, there is only one part of it. There is also like things like theoretical part of things that you need to learn, like in terms of data law, and in terms of ethics, in terms of this in terms of the case to say, in terms of the apps access, like the app's data access, what can be viewed, who can, for the roles wise, who can allow the deletion of the data, who is not able to allow the deletion of the data. Yeah, things like that. It's a bit of a political side of data. It feels to me for the second part of this module. But otherwise, it generally allows you to learn quite a bit of things for this module. And because I say quite a bit of things, right, in terms of content-wise for this module, I will just generally say if you're a person that is actually not aware into SQL, or say in this module-wise, it's going to be a very steep curve into learning this module. And for most students that actually experience this module, they have difficulties mainly because of understanding in terms of how the concepts would work, and sometimes in terms of the ICT language that they have used there, it is not exactly the best for students to understand over time lah. Like I will even admit, even for myself, even transitioning from polytechnic to university days, in terms of this database module, right? I think I only have gotten out 10% of the content from my polytechnic days into the uni days. It's 90% different from what I've learned in polytechnic. So yeah, this module is can be actually quite confusing in terms of understanding like the relationships between the different tables, and in terms of primary key and foreign key, when do we actually apply these primary key and foreign keys back to back. And then also at the same time, I forgot to mention this, you also need to enter SQL code to say, oh, if let's say you need to retrieve certain rows of data, if you need to retrieve certain rows of data, what is the SQL code that you need to input, and then also with the addition of columns, let's say maybe it's done by the sum of number of people that actually went by this group, or in terms of the cost, what is their cost, what is their profit of the company based on their transactional activities, for example. Yeah, a lot of things are actually into this module wise, which even if you ask my friends or even ask other classmates, this simple, or I wouldn't really say simple, but ICT 330 as a whole itself, right, should be split into two modules in the first place, because the ICT 330 circle is just too big of a module to be counted as a 5CU module, and let's just say it's too much content, even though it's an open book exam paper based just paper itself lah. Yeah, so I mean for this one, I will generally say there's quite a bit of difficulty into it, and I wouldn't exactly just say recommend it to everyone, but for me, I quite like this module lah. I'll be very honest with you all. Okay, so for this one, right, if I'm being honest, I will put it in the B tier, the better than ANL 201. Yeah, but don't get me wrong, I enjoy this module, but I would not exactly recommend to everyone for this module. So this one, ICT 330, will be placed in the B tier. Okay, don't get me wrong, I actually like this module, but in terms of the way other profs also teach this module, I'm not exactly a fan of it in terms of, hey, I've been reading the study guide and whatnot, and it did not exactly work it out for me, but I would generally say with the experience of going through the past year paper questions, okay, mainly it helps to understand and also possible to also come up with the assumptions, and then also practice from there how can my SQL code be changed so that it can actually come up with the data that I want. Yeah, and then basically also just get to understand the theoretical part of the data portions, how who can access to what data, who can delete to what source of data. Yeah, pretty much. That's for ICT 330. And then next module, which is ICT 335, which is going to be cloud computing, business case, and technical models. So for this module itself, this was a ICT minor core module, another minor core module from ICT minor. So this ICT 335 itself, it actually talks about the different cloud-based systems that they use. So like let's say for their what's that called? Platform as a service, software as a service, infrastructure as a service kind of base models that they have. And actually, it's a lot more types of services that they mentioned, like let's say XaaS, anything as a service, ML as a service. I can't really think on top of my head what are the other types of services that they have. But yeah, so mainly this is actually about this module, and also talking about like say in terms of what do you call it, like what are certain challenges that people face when they are migrating it to the public cloud. Yeah, so certain examples exist in this module. Kind of forgot what other things that are going on for this module, but that's actually all I remembered for this module wise, ICT 335 lah. Yeah, so in terms of this, why for ICT 335, this one, I'll be honest with you, I almost did not get anything out of this module because, okay, I will just state this clear fact. Okay, in secondary school, okay, I'm not exactly a fan of social studies. Okay, social studies, they usually actually ask about like certain examples that what are certain like real life examples that made the political leader not be agreeable to certain politics in mind. Like if let's say if we want to implement certain changes, okay, so some communities, okay, in this case some communities may have some examples in that case that we can bring it up for our social studies exam paper. It feels the same way to me for this module wise, where I'm supposed to talk about certain examples, real life examples that there are certain cloud softwares that can be used right now that can help for certain functions, okay, that can help for certain functions and solve the things there. So for me, right, those kinds of things, I'm actually not really a fan of it, I'll be very honest with you. And after going through ICT 335, I feel like for the ICT minor portion of things, okay, I'm actually more a fan of ICT coding modules instead of IT architecture modules, which this feels like an IT architecture module to me lah. And basically I lost interest of it. Yeah, even including those of like, let's say, networking technology, no. And also the remaining non-coding module that I will need to learn in ICT minor was going to be operating systems. You can check it out, ICT 246, which I felt that since both of them, ICT 246 and 335, okay, not only do they have the 70% exam paper, which is something that I would not mind if, okay, which is the second part, it's a closed book theory-based exam, which mostly is about non-programming stuff, which are things that I clearly cannot remember about, and it's essay-based, so it's actually worse for me that I can't remember a lot of things from IT architectural side of things. For coding-wise, more or less it's actually open book lah. So in that case, it's actually, in a sense, much easier for me to remember such concepts in that way. So yeah, I'm actually not as I actually do not prefer ICT 335 over some of the other modules that we have over here. Yeah. So for me, ICT 335 will be rather on the lower tier in this case. Okay. So for this one, I'll actually put it in the C tier. C tier in the sense that it's going to be in between let me think, ICT 335 would be actually below and still 211. Yeah, that's for me. Cause I mean, for me, I'll be honest with you, even though the research part of like this module in terms of the TMA, tutor mark assignment, is more of actually finding out like they give certain questions and then ask us to research based on the questions that based on the information that they gave us, and then how do we solve the questions from there. Yeah, I actually prefer that kind of TMA to come out for future TMAs. But for this module itself, for the exam, honestly not a fan of it. Not a fan of just asking about theory, closed book, and basically something that, number one, I'm not as interested in, and secondly, from what I've gone through, I just basically got 90% loss from what I've gone through in the module, and from that I could not get much out of this module. So yeah, so ICT 335 for me will be in the C tier. So I'm actually more of the fan of the coding part of things. So for my side, I chose to drop ICT minor, but I will still be taking the ICT minors minor modules that involves in coding lah. So ICT 133, 330, I will still be keeping. What's the other two? ICT 233 about data programming, which I'll be taking it next semester, and also about ICT 162, which is about object-oriented programming, which I'll be taking 2 semesters later after this semester itself. So yeah, basically those are my thoughts for this module, and why I actually dropped the ICT minor. But I still keep the data science minor lah for this case. Yeah, which is in pink color in this case. Yeah. Alright, next, which is MTH212, which MTH212 is about statistical analysis. So if you all have remembered about bus 105, okay, the description from what I've talked about for bus 105. Yeah, MTH212 is actually the same. MTH212, okay, actually teaches us about the same things like say, oh, sample statistics versus population statistics. Mainly what is the difference between the two. And then also we get to learn about binomial distributions. What types of distributions do they have? Like let's say T distribution, Z distribution, F distribution. When do we use all of these kinds of distributions for such analysis? And then also we get to learn about single linear regression, multiple linear regression, and whatnot. Like these types of models that we learned for this module wise. And also, on top of bus 105, okay, just as a module, MTH212 has the addition of Python programming. So for the exam paper wise, you actually got two choices. During the exam paper, we all have the same 5 questions or the few questions that they have there. So they will be expecting us to at least do all the mathematical calculations via on hand or by Python, as long as the question does not ask us to use Python calculations to not Python calculations, use Python programming to basically do our calculations there in that case. So that's the main difference for bus 105 and MTH212 lah. That's basically the only difference. Which I'll be honest, this one pretty much from what I said, it's going to be side by side with bus 105. Okay, why I also mentioned that bus 105 is actually better than MTH212 in this case. As much as I say I will prefer coding, the exam itself is I would generally say it's a tough one. It was a tough one for my semester that not a lot of people actually completed the paper on time from what I'm aware. So including myself lah, which it was a rather tough paper lah for me. So yeah, that's technically one reason why I put bus 105 over, because MTH212 actually you need time to actually code, and also at the same time just prepare codes that just prepare codes on the side that hey, it's an open book. You need to prepare all of your codes beforehand, okay, so that you're best prepared for this exam wise. Yeah, so that's what I would recommend for this module. Yeah, for MTH212. Alright, last module that I went through for the semester is NCO 205, which is user-centered design, human factors, and design thinking. Okay, so for this module is actually my last NCO module out of all the NCOs. If you have a glance through over my module tier list, other than let's say your what was it, NCO 103 and NCO 201, which are things that I got exempted from, and basically I'm not going to take them lah. Yeah, so this module itself, NCO 205, basically if you were a polytechnic student previously, I was from TP lah. So if you all know about what's that called, innovation, something about product innovation, so that you need to come up with a certain product that will basically help to meet the users requirements and things like that. Yeah, I would generally say that module is similar to this module in the sense that we are actually going to find out about like users, okay, about pros and cons, their pain points. What do they find things that are bad in their certain product that they are using in their daily lives, and then from there, how do we then address those pain points and improve the product based on that kind of thing. Yeah, so generally this module is a bit content heavy in terms of how in terms of what you actually need to do in terms of the workload. You basically need to come up with like interviews with users, like basically it can be like, let's say, about friends or just basically about the demographic that you are interviewing to. Yeah, NCO 205 is about that, and then basically just like the interview itself is basically a part of a process that we need to basically do lah. So basically that one is more of a 6-step analysis of what we basically need to do so that we are actually able to bring out an improved product from the users' feedback and also like the users' pain points. How do we then implement this product in a sense to their daily lives so that they can improve their quality of life. So that's basically about this module NCO205. So for me, NCO205 now, if you ask me about then versus now, then was to the fact that like, hey, by the way, this module, okay, out of the modules that you see over here, this is probably the only NCO, okay, that is randomly assigned. Okay, all members, okay, are randomly assigned to a group, okay, within your members that are in the group itself. Okay, randomly assigned, randomly assigned before taking on the first lesson for this module wise. Yeah, so I guess it will be something to take note if you are bidding for NCO 205. Okay, best thing, if you all want to have if let's say you all want to be in the same group, having you all know that you all want to actually go into NCO 205, probably make sure that maybe in the same degree you may want to motivate your friends to actually go for this certain teaching group that you all have. So let's say there's around 50 people in the class. I'm not so sure about the max quota, but let's say there are 50 people in the class, maybe 25 of y'all can actually go into that TG. So maybe you can hope the best for, let's say, most of y'all being in the same group. Likewise and whatnot, yeah. So that y'all can actually be in the same group lah. Well, it's by chance, so you never know. Okay, so that's it for NCO 205. For me, if you ask me about 10 versus now, which I just realized I haven't answered, in 10, I would think that it's not exactly a very useful module for me, as it's kind of time-wasting module. I'll be honest, but after actually going through the things that I've gone through in NCO 205, it's like, hey, it actually helps us to understand from the stakeholders' point of view, like, or in this sense, the interviewees' point of view, like the users, like how can we actually improve our product, or like a product based on the users' requirements, you know. Like I feel like in terms of, like, let's say consultancy, or let's say in terms of the data that is mainly being shown, how can we then improve our product? Okay, just keeps us thinking lah in terms of that line of sense. So for me, right, okay, if you were to ask me based on the NCO modules that we see over here, okay, I'll be honest with you, this is actually, okay, you know what, okay, after looking at the NCOs that I've seen here, right, okay, I'll put NCO 203 below NIE 351. Okay, this is what I feel now. Well, okay, because NCO 203, I feel like even though we have learned about the language skills and whatnot, okay, I feel that now it isn't as useful to learn, okay, as compared to like 351, which 351 is the experiential learning, global experiential learning, something like that, yeah, that you need to go overseas for. But for NCO 205, I've found it to be the best so far, okay, because I feel that this is probably one of the modules that could be useful in the sense of for our jobs which for business analytics I would generally say it works some way somewhere or another, but it doesn't go on par with the other major core modules that we have here lah. So yeah, I would generally say, ironically, I would have put it over here if it was the start of the semester. But for now, I would generally say it's in the middle of E tier, which is actually the best NCO module in SUSS. I mean, of course, other than BUS 105, but yeah, it's just there lah. So that's for me, that I would generally say this is the best NCO module in SUSS. Also, another ironic thing that, hey, it's the last NCO module. No more NCO modules to take, which is God bless. No more time wasting modules for me. And anyways, that comes to the end of the review session for year 3 semester 1. So to recap, ENG 335 I find it the best, as we can find out more about the mathematical part of things that ANL side did not go through as much in terms of the algorithms. How does the algorithm run lah? Okay, so there's one ENG 335 in S tier. Some other modules that I went through would be ICT 330, okay, which is in B tier, mainly because too much content that actually for this 5CU module it can actually be split into two modules, which can be on the database side of things. How do you create the database? How do you create tables? How do you link the tables between the relationships? Like let's say one to many, many to many, one to one types of relationships, and also learn on SQL. And then the other module, technically you can learn about the data laws and ethics side of things. What are certain actions and also what's that called? Actions and security measures that you can allow like the public to use, or let's say you can allow the managers to use, for example, business managers to use. Can they change the data? Can they delete the data? Can they only view the data, such as the public? Yeah. So ICT 330 honestly can be split into two modules. Otherwise, it's a really jam-packed module to note off lah. So 330 I would generally say is the B tier. Wouldn't exactly recommend to everyone, like I said lah. Okay, so I've also went through ICT 335, which is not as interesting to me, and also at the same time, ICT 335 I'm just not as interested in the IT architecture lah. That's all I would say for this. And MTH 212 exam is quite a killer, but it's actually quite similar to BUS 105 lah, in the sense that you generally learn the same things, except that MTH 212 you just need to use Python. Where some of the exam questions may ask on Python, to mainly use Python to find out. Okay. And then lastly, I've done NCO 205, which ironically is the best NCO module that I've went through in the past 3.5 years in SUSS. Wait, I said wrongly. 2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years. So yeah, basically that's it for my year 3 sem 1 module tier review. Also, based on right now it's going to be a few hours left to 2026 already. So yeah, Happy New Year to you all. And basically I just want to give a live update in terms of how this year has been so far. So actually right now I'm actually working on my final year project, which is ANL 488. I kind of forgot what the whole name actually is, but it's just basically my final year project lah. So I'm actually currently working on that till next year. So be expected to find me quite busy over the next year and so, and also hopefully I will actually complete my curriculum lah, my whole 4-year curriculum by the end of 2026, where I'll be rushing the my own curriculum a bit. Yeah, so technically I will be busy for the whole of 2026. If I upload any videos, some of the videos may be based on last year's content, which I have not edited yet, I'll be honest. So that's one thing to keep a lookout for. Or otherwise, maybe about studying streams and whatnot lah. Yeah. So generally, generally in terms of this semester and the next semester wise, I think I will be more busier. I'll be busier in the next semester wise, as I'll also be embarking on my internship lah. Yeah. So I'll mainly be locking in lah. Maybe locking in for my modules for my 2026 year lah. Yeah, so and just focusing on internship, and yeah, that's basically my life basically my life from this sem onwards. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the module tier review, and also about my life update as well. So just to TLDR, some modules are good, some modules are not as good. And yeah, it basically shows in the module tier list. And 2026 is going to be my busiest year yet, and just going to be hoping for the best, and also for you all as well, for Happy New Year and also at the same time, all the best for your future endeavors in 2026. Okay, so yeah, hope to see y'all in the next video. Hopefully in February 2026. If not, it's going to be in June 2026, where I'll be talking about my module tier review on Year 3 semester 2 modules, which I'll be taking 5 modules, including the final year project. Will be taking 5 modules with my internship, which is a separate thing. It's not exactly a module. Yeah, so yeah, this is basically it. Alright. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Alright, see you next time. Bye bye.